Hey, I'm here with Jess. We worked together over the past few months in my Simple Investing Method program. And Jess, I just wanted us to have a conversation so others can hear about your experience directly from you. So, if you want to start things off with a quick intro, who you are and what your financial world looked like before we started working together, go for it.
So, as Josh mentioned, my name is Jess. I'm 32 years old. Just to put it a little bit into context of where I am financially, I had no idea of where my money was in terms of I had a business bank account, a personal bank account. My partner had a personal bank account. Um, and we just didn't know what to do with our money. We are self employed, which made things even harder. And I was looking for someone not only to help me where to put it, but educate me on why I'm putting it where I'm putting it.
And so, tell me what for you, I guess there's two pieces. One was the investing side. Well, it felt confusing or frustrating for you in the investing side before we met.
The confusing part was I really was clueless on any type of investing. Personal wise,
Yep.
I have no education. So it was confusing, but it also was frustrating because I feel like there's so much out there. And the more you try to look for things, the more different directions you're being pulled. So again, you just basically help me get streamlined of this is the amount of money that you have, this is how much money you should invest and where you should invest it and why. So it was nice to kind of lose that frustration of like there's 20 different options, where do I go? As well as the confusion
Yeah.
of there are 20 options and now I know where and why I invest.
I think one of the things you said to me on on the original call together was, "Yeah, I've got a Roth account sitting in Florida. I don't know what that means other than there's some money in it and it's not growing. It was
That's
just hanging
exactly
out
it.
there."
Yep.
Yeah.
A Roth in Florida, a bank account in England, and then a couple accounts in the US, which all yeah, I was clueless.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when it came to how you were managing your money for the business and how you were paying your bills, there was no system or flow. It was just, "Hey, I need some money. I'll just go see where it's going to come from this week to pay my bills," right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. There was a lot of different avenues of where and how to pay bills compared to now. It's the perfect example you used for me is the waterfall effect. So everything again
Huge.
is streamlined and drips down one thing at a time, and we're all under one account instead of just a big guessing game.
Yep. Yep. So, what was the trigger for you before you called that said, "We've got to get this mess cleaned up. It's time." What was the thing that triggered that for you?
The thing I feel like triggered me the most is the future. I have 2 kids, and one of them had a 529 and one didn't. And again, the one 529 that I had, I didn't even know what it was doing other than we were putting $100 in, and why were we picking $100 as a number? So that was one big trigger, but the second thing was the future for ourselves. Again, I had a Roth that I had no idea, so I wanted some retirement. And how did I get there to retire? I'm not a citizen. So again, the money being in a different country, did that matter to move it over? Those two future goals were the biggest triggers.
Do you remember how you originally came across me? It was not on social media. I think it was on social media. It was through Facebook, correct? Like through a
Yeah,
Facebook group?
it was through a Facebook group called Boulder Moms. I knew I didn't want to work with a big corporation, and I got to learn even more why through your course of, paying a percentage
Yep.
over time is actually a lot of money. I love local, I love small business. This was so extremely personal. So finding it through a personal avenue like a Boulder Moms group just it felt really good.
So when we were talking, what stood out for you from that conversation that said, "This is the person that I want to work with"?
The
Do you
personal
remember?
side of it for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
I think as we went through the course, it was even more obvious how personal it became because of the way my situation is with being self-employed and things like that. But from the very get-go of how personal and relatable and I mean kind you were is was like the perfect role for me. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I
Um,
also will add you kept things on my knowledge level. Like you weren't saying words or facts that I was like, whoa, this is way too much. Like everything was like, okay, this is where Jess is at and this is where you met me at, which again makes it feel good for, educating and confidence in the program of what I'm doing.
so before talking to me, what else had you done to try and get this figured out?
I honestly hadn't done much. I Googled a lot, and I think once I had Googled things, things were popping up like on my algorithm, but I hadn't actively done anything.
Let's talk more about the experience of working together. Like what stood out from you from that experience of us working together?
The biggest thing that stood out was the personal side again. I just think, we had a 12-week plan that kind of went sideways a couple times, and you always took your time and were patient and, figured out things that I think we hadn't originally planned for. And then
Yeah.
the second biggest thing, I would just say the education. I felt I actually learned a lot from the program that I would never have researched myself. Um, and not only did I have the notes and the videos, we then discussed it. So I would say the education was a huge factor in the success of the program.
What part of the process do you think has made the biggest difference for you?
I think the biggest difference is the plan because it wasn't just like, oh, here's the plan for 12 weeks. Like, this is the plan forever. Or, like, you were
Yeah.
kind enough to say, like, you can reach back out if you need anything. But this wasn't just like, let's get organized for 12 weeks. This was, let's get organized until you retire and until your kids go to college. The 1/5 page thing at the end, like that is something I can always refer to,
Yeah.
which I really appreciate.
And then obviously for you, initially the conversation was, how do I get my personal world organized? And we sort of turned it into like, how do I get my small business and my personal world talking to each other and organized as well? So that was a little bit of a detour that
Yeah, it
maybe we
was
didn't know we were going to do when we first started. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. And you were patient enough to ride all the detours.
Yeah, it was important. I mean, you can't do one without the other. So to have just
Right.
pretended it didn't exist, it would have not really completed what we were trying to accomplish. So what would you say has changed for you, since we started working together in terms of what your money world, your finance world looks like now?
I think the biggest things that have changed is the first thing I know where all of my money is instead of in 4 different accounts. And I think another thing that has changed is that like that future plan, like I am educated enough to know how much to put into retirement, how much to put into 529s, the live in free bucket. There's a lot more confidence in where I'm putting the money.
Yeah, cool. And then obviously the flow of the money, right? So it comes into the business now instead of coming into like three different locations. It all comes into the business. Hopefully, we'll get
Yes.
the escort part figured out for you, and then all of that will then flow
Yes,
into your
that's
personal. You
exactly
can pay
yeah.
your bills and everything. Yeah, cool,
Yeah, it's perfect.
cool. How do you feel about your financial world now compared to how you felt before we started working together?
I feel confident. That's the biggest thing. I feel confident um in where everything is and where everything will go in the future. Um and I guess content is the other word. Um I feel content because of the confidence, but also because I know that if something major was to change, I do have someone to reach back out to that I am confident to work with. So I would say between the confidence and content, I feel really good.
Awesome. And you've got a plan, and you feel like you're on track, and all of those things are now totally different than they were before.
Yes.
Cool. What would you say to someone who is in the same spot that you were in a few months ago before we started working together? Somebody who was considering this and trying to make a decision. What would you say to them?
I would say to make the decision, but to trust the process. Things don't change in 2 weeks, and plans and futures can't be built in 2 weeks. So commit to the process, but then trust the process.
Cool. I love that. Thank you. Who do you think this would be a good fit for? It's my last question.
Honestly, this program is fit for anybody. I mentioned my age at the beginning because I think it's important that you can be young enough to start, but I don't think there's an age cap because, again, everybody's future looks different. And then it doesn't matter the income wage because, again, I think you suit the program to fit all types.
Yeah. So I really appreciate you sharing all that. It's going to be a huge help for people who are in a similar spot. So thank you for taking the time. If you're watching this and you feel like you're in a similar situation to what Jess just described, please feel free to reach out. We'll see if my simple investing method coaching program might be a good fit for you. So thank you.
Thank you.